Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, saints and ain'ts, participators, congratulators, and oh yes, the haters. Welcome to another edition of the Seat of the Esteemed. This edition is virtual. No pun intended at all. No pun intended at all. Today we have the owner and creator of the Matrix and Terminator, the Oracle herself, the bringer forth of the third eye, Sophia Stewart. Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
I should have brought the books. I forgot to bring the books even. Well,
Oh yes,
my book is called where it all began, the Third Eye Matrix and Terminator book.
The third book.
No, it's the first book. It's actually the first book, but it's called the Third Eye Matrix and Terminator because I'm talking about the eye of God, and I'm talking about the woman's womb, the Matrix, and I'm talking about Terminator End Time Revelations, where the prophecy comes from.
Exactly. Can you just, because knowledge, the lack of knowledge is where our people will perish for the lack of knowledge.
Oh, yes. I say that all the time in my interviews. Yes. Where is spoken.
Chapter 4, verse 6, actually. So could you just share the knowledge with the kingdom on the Matrix at the womb?
Yeah, what I wrote was the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machine, but I wrote it in science fiction form. I wrote this little science fiction story, but it had big implications. Do you see? Because in the Bible, if you've ever read the Bible, it says the Christ was going to come back again. In the Terminator movie, which was created October the 26th, 1984, is the beginning of the epic story. The machines in the future, here's the oracle's prophecy that a baby is going to be born that's going to destroy them when they enslave mankind. And the machines know, they're the AI, they know everything. They know that who's destined to have this baby in the past is Sarah Connor. So they have to time travel to the past to kill her so the baby will not be born. And Kyle Reese, one of the rebels that are battling the machines in the future, here's the oracle's prophecy also, and he knows he has to time travel to save her, but inadvertently falls in love with her while he's saving her and gets her pregnant. Now it's the Immaculate Conception because he had to go back to the future. He can't stay in the past. And yet he was like a ghost. He disappeared. She was in love with him. What happened to him? But in the Matrix, her womb, the proof of his love, the baby is right there. And this baby is going to grow up to be John Connors, who is Jesus Christ, who grows up to be in the future in the Matrix, March 31st, 1999, the Christ child, Neo, the one, Neoone. John the Revelator was the only one to call Jesus the one. It's one epic story divided into two franchises, but it's the story of the second coming of the Christ and how in the future these machines are going to oppress the people. They're going to be so wrapped in flesh, killed but cannot be killed, that you cannot determine who's a machine and who's not. The first coming in the Bible was about Joseph and Mary and Jesus coming the first time. But this is his second coming in the future when technology, technocracy, metaphysics, spirituality, quantum physics, calculus, and ancient sacred geometry is dominant. Numbers is the universal language, math.
Absolutely. And when we talk about machines, when you talk about machines, In 2025, machines are not just mechanical things. We're now talking about flesh. We're actually talking about artificial insemination. We're actually talking about um, artificial intelligence, which we are seeing and carrying in our book bags and in our pockets every single day. Can you share
Right.
some knowledge on that as well? How the machines now are not, as you said in other interviews, the clinking, clacking of Star Wars. They now resemble the fruitful, the actual human beings, God's children.
Yeah, because I'm talking about that because it's evil versus good or good versus evil, but it's also about man creating his own children in the laboratory, lab rats. They're seedless and soulless. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but they will be in the future seedless and soulless.
Absolutely.
Meaning that they would be petri dish babies, artificial inseminated babies, drones, clones, test tube, gender benders, gender manipulated. But they will look like us, wrapped in flesh. Seedless, soulless, they cannot replicate, cannot duplicate, cannot have a baby, no matrix womb. See, the word matrix is a 7,000-year-old Latin word that comes from the woman's, from the Bible, actually mentioned 5 times in Scripture, 3 times in Exodus, 2 times in Numbers. Exodus 34th chapter, 19th verse, God says, "He who opens the matrix are mine, my children, born of a woman. I came out of the womb of a woman, not out of the ass of a man." We come from the womb of a woman. There is no Dr. Frankenstein that can turn a man into a woman or a woman into a man. There's no Dr. Frankenstein that can even attach the penis once it's cut off. It's over.
Absolutely not.
With Lorraine Bobbitt, it was putting the skin back on, sewing the skin back on, but not the actual penis.
Absolutely not. And in celebration, yesterday was International Women's Day. And I find it absolutely amazingly interested that the modern Prometheus, which was later retitled Frankenstein, was written by Mary Shelley in 1815.
Yes. Yeah,
And
in the 1800, in 1860, I think 1861.
1818 it was published.
Right.
And she actually wrote a book, a woman, right? Wrote a book describing science, a scientist who actually sought to create life from dead tissue. Now we
Well, excuse me. No, it slipped. It wasn't from dead tissue. What the Dr. Frankenstein was doing, he was doing organ transplants. Go back and look at the movie again. It's been several of them. When the grave diggers are bringing the bodies to him, they are still warm. That is one of his demands, is that the body is warm. And what happens is he takes the organs out of those cadavers, and he's creating Frankenstein. Now he can do every organ transplant, including the heart, the brain, everything except for the penis. Frankenstein has remember the lightning rods on his neck. So when electrical storm is going on, he can activate the body like with a facilitator, start the heart to moving. So he takes him up into the storm, and the electrical storm makes the monster come alive. Now the monster is killing men, women, and children. But soon he grows lonely and he wants a companion. So he comes to Dr. Frankenstein and asks him to give him a woman. But when Dr. Frankenstein creates a woman, she wants Dr. Frankenstein because he has a penis.
Correct.
The monster has no penis, so he jumps on the doctor to kill him because he's envious of the penis. Correct. Go back and look at the story and you'll see it in a whole entirely different way now.
I'm seeing it in a whole different light now.
I am too.
When I make the connection of the soulless and the seedless, because Frankenstein was seedless and soulless, as was the bride of Frankenstein. Hence why she was
Right.
so drawn to the human doctor. She was naturally drawn to him. I also just read another interesting fact that the very first artificially inseminated babies, or babies that were brought forth by IVF or other man-made strategies, are celebrating 30 years.
Oh yeah, and the test tube babies, I think they've been out since the 70s, I think 78 to be exact. And do you know, I met some of the test tube babies. They're wrong, you know, and I met one when he was in, well, two actually, when they were in their 30s, and they look similar. Did you know they kind of look identical? They don't have their own individual look. Were you guys aware? Were you guys aware of that?
Yes, it does. I have noticed that. The more modern ones, there's more variations, but the earlier artificial children, it reminds me eerily of Children of the Damned, the Stephen King novel. So I find it very interesting that they are in adulthood, and I'm curious, what are their fertility abilities?
They cannot replicate. That was the whole thing about God's children versus man's children, because man created machines, because God is the only one that can create the replication, the seed or the soul, because God's children are three-dimensional beings. I also studied to be a doctor, a medical doctor. I have a degree in journalism and a degree in law, so I'm very prolific in law and journalism, and also medical and so forth. So what I'm going to do is break down to you, man cannot create the seed or the soul. God's children are three-dimensional beings. Like the first of a woman is blood, water, and spirit. That's called a period for us. Blood, water, and spirit. Well, you can't kill a spirit. So you can perform an abortion up to 11 weeks, and it would be, you will not be killing a living soul. Now, the seed attaches to, at the 12th weeks, it attaches to all three of the bodies become one. Blood, water, and spirit, the period. The second body, the physical body, takes 9 months or 36 weeks. The third body, at the 12th week, the soul or the seed attaches to the other two bodies. Now that's God's child, God's children or child, three-dimensional being. Do you understand now?
Yes.
Now, what man creates in the laboratory is basically two-dimensional or one-dimensional. He's either one or two. And let me explain that to you. Like I told you, with us living beings, we have what you call a spirit. Blood, water, and spirit. Now, when man is creating in the laboratory, that baby could be a spirit inside of it, but not a seed or a soul of continuation. If it's a drone, it has no seed, soul, or nor spirit in it. It is simply working, it's not organic. It's simply working mechanically. That's where when we talk about the red and the blue pill, the red and blue pill is just referencing God's children. God's children, when you cut us, we bleed red blood. When you crash or destroy a machine, it's going to have blue or black oil, the mechanical ones. Do you see? Yes. And when you're writing with a pen, it's blue and black ink. That's why they say when you write with a red pen, it is referencing the blood, and the death angel cannot cross over the blood. The blood is very phenomenal and very significant. Are you guys aware of that?
Yes, the spirit lives in the blood.
Well, the soul, the seed, everything is in the blood. You see what I'm talking about? On God's children.
Yes.
Everything is fully capable. So this is where the confusion comes, because the doctor knows all this stuff I'm speaking. And they can explain this stuff to people just like I'm explaining it to you guys. Now, you guys get little tidbits of information left out of every conversation that does not connect the dot. And that was done intentionally to keep you plugged in to the programming, keep you plugged into the simulations,
The distraction
of the Matrix. That's right.
That's-
You're in a simulated world, and you can't come into the real world until you know the full truth. And what you do is you go around and you collect truth. And the more you collect truth, the more you're living in the real world. But if you do like Cypher and know you're not eating a steak and you choose to do that, and you want to be delusional and you want to be plugged in and you go out and kill and die for the lie, that's taking the blue pill. Do you understand? Because there are people who are comfortable in that blue world of lies and ignorance, yeah, and the assimilation and the programming. And you know a lot of people like this. Some people are awakened, some are woke. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. And some people are sleepwalking.
Some people are sleepwalking very much. And don't know and do not know they're sleepwalking.
Absolutely.
And have no idea what they've done while they were in that state of being.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think are God's children more receptive to the truth now than they were when you originally brought the world to their eye?
Well, this is what I brought this work upon the earth, was to change the whole paradigm of the earth, because you guys were still in that old age of H.G. Wells' metal robots, clankety clink. You guys were still enjoying the wonderment of that. Let's go back to Star Wars in 1977.
Oh, yes.
Let's go back to Star Trek and Lost in Space. H.G. Wells, a prodigy like myself, born in the Iron Age. He's born in the Iron Age. I'm born in the digital age. What he saw in artificial AI is a metal old clankety clank, because they were using metal. And you guys got so excited when you saw Star Wars and you saw the little G2, whatever, their names were, the two little machines, robots, and they were laughing and entertaining.
R2D2 and C3PO.
That's their names, okay? That's the ones I am speaking on.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, that was entertainment. But when you got the Matrix and Terminator, you guys woke up out of that paradigm, because no one had, in 1984, October the 26th is when Terminator first came out. Terminator End Time Revelations, that's where it comes from, Terminator. Wrapped in flesh, killed but cannot be killed. Can you imagine that he when we come out of the womb, we land naked without shame. We come here naked, and when we leave here, you're leaving naked. You didn't come with anything, and you're not taking anything when you leave, okay?
Absolutely.
And what happens when the Terminator gets here? He's walking around naked without shame, because he has no soul. He has no seed. He has no compassion, no love. He doesn't know that he's naked. But what happens when Kyle Reese comes here? Soon as he lands naked, he go find clothes to put on, because he has a soul. He has a seed. He has compassion. He falls in love. He eats. He's happy. Do you kind of get the picture now, Neos?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so
it was actually God's child.
Exactly. And what are both of them doing? They're hunting for Sarah Connor. One is to kill her, one is to protect her. So when you see the first Matrix, that's the future. But look, when you see the first two Terminators, that's what's connected to the Matrix. It goes smoothly on into the Matrix. And then after that, it just gets lost in the shuffle with regurgitation. The other Terminators, garbage. The other two Matrix is going in the wrong direction. The concept is off. They're still using my logos. They're still using my characters, my graphics, my special effects, my red and blue pill, my I'll be back dialogue. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
But they can't copy original thoughts. And
That's
that's
right.
why
They cannot.
film
Well, this is
is
a
less
deal.
and less
It
entertaining.
it's not copying. It's more mimicking because right now, the late Michael Jackson, the late Prince, all you can do is mimic their old 20 to 30 years old work. The only one that can eclipse the work is the creator. We're the only one that can keep eclipsing and keep going and going until we leave this earth. You're going to have more original work. We're not original like authors. We have original work. We are the only authors of our work. And so when we leave, you feel bad because you won't see any more of that work. All you will see is people copying and mimicking. Look, we can go back to Alice in Wonderland, copying, mimicking Alice in Wonderland, copying and mimicking every author that have lived here, copying and mimicking their old work. Am I right or wrong? Come on.
Absolutely.
But you don't see any
You
eclipse. You
can
don't
mimic
see.
a Picasso, but Picasso's work is lost to the world right now.
Yeah, because he's gone.
He's
So
gone.
you're not going to see any fresh new Picassos. All you're going to keep going is seeing old one, and you got to really test the paper, the ink, the canvas, because these people can create the biggest frauds that you've ever. They can duplicate everything, but they cannot create stuff from ancient times because that ink, that paper no longer exists on the earth. And so when a expert come and you say, hey, I got a Picasso. Anybody can mimic Picasso. Anybody can copy him, but you can't eclipse him. And once the person come and they examine, this is a fraud. Because the people who are scamming and stealing and emulating, they don't think about ancient times that, hey, I can't copy this Picasso because this ink doesn't exist anymore. This paper doesn't exist anymore. This textile, whatever is going on, doesn't exist anymore because of the period he came from.
Absolutely.
So no one can give you more Matrix but Sophia Stewart.
Absolutely.
And the only one that can talk about it is Sophia Stewart because I am the creator and I know what I created. Yeah, I know what I wrote. I was a master writer from grade school, 7 years in the seventh grade, 11 years old. So by the time I got into college, I skipped high school. I was already a master writer, and God gave me some of the most phenomenal, wealthy teachers. Max Siegel, famous journalist with the New York Times, Emile Capullo, essay critic, author of books, Big Apple playwright Paul Cherry, Leon Roth, R-O-T-H, over at USC. His son is Eric Roth, R-O-T-H, that won in 1977, Airport 79. He wrote that and won an Oscar. And you'll know his work, Benjamin Buttons, some of his work, Eric Roth. His father is this famous producer. I think his mother was a television executive. Leon was one of my teachers at USC.
Awesome. I also read that your grandmother, full blood Cherokee, was a shaman.
That is correct.
Well, could you share some of that with us? And you're a shaman as well.
Yeah, my grandmother, coming from the Indian reservations of Missouri, couldn't speak a lick of English at all. My grandfather, coming from Portugal, over there by Spain, where the conquistadors, and you guys read about them, Cortez and so forth. And this is where they came over and started raping the Native Americans here. And over in Mexico, they're not just mixed with the Aztecs and the Incas. They are mixed with the Portuguese and Spaniards, conquistadors, and they're speaking broken Spanish. And this is where they get their names from, the names such as Lopez, Gonzalez, Garcia, Martinez. All those names, and you guys didn't realize that, come from over there in Portugal and Spain.
Absolutely.
The Incas and the Aztecs, they have weird names. I'm not trying to be funny, but names that you will be able to
They have
pronounce.
the names of their people, the names, the original language of their people, names that your grandmother could probably pronounce, but we've been so disconnected from that ancient tribe that we would have difficulty pronouncing without training, most likely.
Well, I want to explain to people that when you go over to Portugal and you go to Spain, that is the real language. And when you go to Mexico, that is the broken Spanish. And a lot of people do not know that. They're not aware because they were calling the people over in Mexico, they're like Seminole Indians because they're mixed with Spanish. And you don't think about it like that because they've told people so many lies that you're mixed with African. There's no such thing as African. The word Africa comes from the English queen, her man Africanus, who said that he conquered Hannibal with all those elephants and lions and so forth. And she took over the whole continent, and then she had all of the top so-called people of Nigeria and the other ones, the Congos, the Somalians, the Egyptians. They had these people speaking like a broken kind of English accents. Because there is no such thing as an African American, because that is a nation, but there's no nation that exists because Africa is a continent.
Correct.
America is a country, and America is a country. There is no hyphen continent and country that exists anywhere for you to have a nationality, a nation. God said we are the blood. We're not Afro-Americans. We're not talking about your hair. We're not niggers. The Native Americans were the first one to be called niggers and Negro and colored people and black and minorities. These were derogatory names. Why would you want to call yourself a derogatory name when if you're born in the land of America, your nationality is an American? Yet all the migrants come from all over the world, want to crash in on a land that you want to leave. It is amazing to me. The greatest country of all is America. And guess what? More of the other countries own this land than the people born here. Yet if you go someplace else, you saw what happened with COVID. When anybody shuts down their borders, you have to go back where you were born. Because we are the blood. You look at your blood, and a majority of people in America don't even know their bloodlines. I can ask you guys, and how many of you, how many over there, 5 of you? How many know your bloodlines? Tell me, how many of you know what your blood type is? Tell me right now. Let me hear your blood type. Excuse me?
O positive is my blood type.
That's the first ancient bloodline to come upon the earth, Neanderthal blood, that gives blood to everybody. But everybody cannot give you blood. Only another O positive can give you blood. I want to hear from the rest. What are you guys' bloodlines? Give me your blood. What's your blood?
Only three of us. It's only 3 of us here.
Okay, give me the rest, because you guys are far away from.
I'm not going to sit here and perpetrate like I do that.
Well, let me tell you, when I'm looking at you guys, I can't see you because
I know what my mother told me. My mother told me that we're Cherokee. She said that we have heavy Cherokee Indian blood in us. I know how they look, but as far as me knowing anything like, I can't perpetrate and say I want to know. Those are things that I want to look up so we'll be able to teach our children. But we know I'm a part of the generation that just know what moms and the grandmothers told us. And from my side, my family my dad, he's from the West Indies. He's from Barbados. My mom is from Georgia. You know what I'm saying? And she said she said they was the Geechees, and she will also tell me.
Well, you know what the Geechees are? Portuguese.
Yeah, see, I didn't.
Well,
That
see, well, I'm
you
here. I'm here to
you
teach.
just taught you just taught me. She used to say that we was Geechees, and then she used to also tell me that we had a lot of heavy Cherokee Indian blood.
Yeah, but see, a lot of people don't know that. They call the Portuguese Geechees for short.
See, you just taught. You see, you just taught me. My mom
I'm just
was
laughing because you were learning, but you didn't go further into researching
no,
of it.
yeah, I know she taught. It's so many things that as a child, my mom used to tell me that, I just thought, was like saying or talking. But now that I got older, I realized that, oh, wow, she was, teaching me a lot of things that, I'm still to this day looking into.
Yeah, it's very deep,
I,
yeah, but we are the blood, and God tells us that. He said the nation is very important, but it's talking about the land. The nationality is our land. How valuable is our land, our nation? How powerful is our nation, our land? But the machines here, they do not want you to know your blood. So most people, they won't tell them at the hospital. You don't know how many people I've spoken to. And they say, well, I don't know what my blood type is. I'm like, oh my God, that is the most important thing. Your blood. It tells you who you are. It tells you who your ancestors are. It tells you what your ancestors have done upon this earth. Land doesn't tell you that. The land, when you're a nationality, the land has its own history. You understand now?
Exactly.
This is why when you're born on such a piece of land, that land could be young, like America's young, or it can be old, like the Palestinian land is old, or it can be non-existent, like the Israelite land over there that they just gave in the 40s to certain people.
I just wanted to, you ladies are so brilliant. Just wanted to slow a few things down that I heard that was very interesting and make a point so y'all can both elaborate and explain couple things I've heard y'all say. So this blood thing is very important, and this is how I'm hearing it. So I've always, I'm big in studying the Bible and studying scripture. So I'm hearing y'all say about this blood. So I know a lot of people are unaware of what the scriptures are saying. So the scriptures actually, when you study them, it seems that it's a blood thing going on. That's the whole thing. So it's
Well, let me explain to you. The war is not about you having black skin or white skin. There's no such thing that even
yeah, of course.
exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I confuse you and I keep you plugged into these programs and I keep you in this simulated world, you will die the rest of your life out in the simulated programmed world and will not have come out to the truth and will not have lived your life like you came to live and you came to create and what you came to do. The natives were intentionally told to cut off their hair, change their clothes, stop speaking their language so they could really get lost, so someone could steal this land. They tried to kill out the natives. They got rid of the buffalo, their food. When you kill out a food chain, you can kill out a people. You know what I'm saying? So you go back and you look at the real history, not this black skin, white skin, African, Caucasians, Caucasus, whatever, all these names. It was never about that. Go back and look at the Book of the Dead, the Book of the Living. It goes all the way up to ancient Egypt, and that's what they're calling it. But before that, it was called another land. Another land. The whole continent was called another land. Every so many thousands of years, they start changing the names of these lands. getting rid of the history of these lands and the histories of these people who are on these lands. But if you go into the Bible, which is a road, it's sort of like a road map. It's a book of guidance. When you look at it, it tells you there were two lineages born on the earth. And it goes into Genesis, but Genesis doesn't exist. It's an anagram for its genes, two words. Genesis, turn it around, reverse it, is Isgenes, is genes. And what's going on in the genes? God says the earth was already plenished with his people, already there. But there was these people in the garden, Adam and Eve. And what does it explain to you? Eve was having sex with a reptilian that was walking upright like a man. After the curse came, he crawled on his belly as one of the serpents. That's where the dragons and the lizards and all of these things come from. So from that, she had a baby. What is it now?
Eve committed an act of bestiality with the serpent?
Of course, she had the baby Cain. Cain had the mark of his father, the mark of the beast. What is the reptilian but a beast?
Of Adam?
The second baby, called Abel, came from Adam, because the next thing she did was she went and had sex with Adam. And the baby Abel was born. But do you remember? Cain killed Abel.
Absolutely. Jealousy.
And so everything came from that lineage. Seth and the Christ and everybody came from that lineage. But over here from Cain, raising Cain, chaos, raising Cain, listen to his name, chaos, had his lineage of bestiality, the negative bloodline, the Rh factor monkey rhesus blood. That's what the real war is. God's children versus man's children. Bestiality, the AI comes from. Seedless, soulless. That's the real war. But you guys are so busy fighting black and white skin. That's the distraction.
Not us here.
Because there are people with blood, with dark skin that have white babies. There's people with white skin that are passing, but they have black babies.
Not us here. We represent the children of God and the children of the devil.
No, I'm not talking about you. When I use the universal you, I'm talking.
I know you mean people in general.
Yes, I'm only not speaking directly to you guys. I don't even know you personally. I don't know any of your background, your history, nothing. Right now, this interview is teaching the multitude that's going to hear it. Absolutely. One of my old interviews with Armstrong Williams, a television show back in 2018, 2019, got almost 20 million hits because of the knowledge that I'm giving. I'm filling in the dots, you know, the things that the light bulb is going to come on, the stuff that you're missing, so you can see how to become more productive here, so you can unplug out of the matrix, so you can come into reality and not in a simulated world where you're being manipulated, you're being killed, you're being utilized, sex trafficking, and all kinds of other things that are going on here in hell.
I also heard you speak about using the term the slavery or the slave trade is actually incorrect, that it was actually what we would call today sex trafficking.
It is. It's the same identical thing. It is sex trafficking. It was never any American slavery because every conqueror who has ever gone to any land on this earth have made people slaves and took them into sex trafficking, free labor, all kinds of stuff. Yes, come on, wake up.
I think
how can wait? How can it be slavery if the president is black and Lincoln is black? He's a black president.
Break that down.
Wait. The cadets that was over at West Point, and when I was a teenager, I was up there at West Point dancing with the cadets. They had black cadets that went to school with Grant, with all the other ones that you were talking about. All of the people who played a part in this ruse, they went to school up at West Point. Custer, Grant, the president of the South, what was his name? Jefferson Davis. Come on, all these people went to the same schools together. I know it blows your mind, but I'm telling the truth. You can look this up.
We all heard rumors, especially, you know, we're children of the 70s, of the black presidents, that Lincoln, I think the first time I heard Lincoln was potentially a black man, which I said,
well, yeah. I can prove it to you in 3 seconds. You want me to prove it to you in 3 seconds, but you never have to question it ever again?
The penny.
He's on a black penny.
He's on the penny.
The copper penny, and he's facing another direction from the other presidents. You go, wait a minute, and you go, I'm gonna do you one even better. You go to the Library of Congress, and his picture is in there, and they're talking about his woolly hair and blah blah, his, you know, his whole mannerism. And the first president, John Hanson, you know, that's why they said it was 7 presidents before Obama, because they tried to lie and said Obama was the first president, black president. But what they were trying to say was Washington was the first white president. Because there was nothing but black president in a black house. They burnt it down. And this White House that you see now, that is the second White House that they painted white after they burnt the other one down. I can show you the pictures. Oh, I can show you better than I can tell you. How about that?
Yes.
I don't have to tell anybody anything. I can show you better than I can tell you. You guys probably didn't even know there was a first White House got burnt down.
I did know the first White House got burned down, but I didn't know the color of the first White House.
Well, it was a regular building, but it had all the artifacts of the black president. John Hanson, Thomas Jefferson, Lincoln, Hardin, and they were all Eisenhower, Coolidge. They were all on lower denominations of money. Look, Hanson is on a $2 bill. Jefferson is on a $10 bill. Eisenhower is on the 10-cent coin. I'm sorry, but I know you guys know this. If you look at the denominations of money, Jackson is on a $20 bill.
Yes.
Now, all the white presidents, some of them are on, and some of them not even presidents. Simon P. Chase, I think he's on a $10,000 bill. He was never a president. I think he was a treasurer, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry for laughing, but this is comical. This is comical, the programming that they have created. You know, history, his story, his side of the story, history, his story. That's what history is. His story, his side of the story.
What do you believe is the most important piece of knowledge for parents today to share with their God's children as they prepare to go to war with the other children?
Well, you want to educate your children so they won't end up going to prison, so they won't end up someone killing them, putting them down like they're animals. Knowledge frees you here. It elevates you. What did God tell you? He says, my people perish because of a lack of knowledge. They die out of ignorance and arrogance and just complete, just a disarray of feeling of importance of who you are and why you're here. They're missing a lot of things. And if you teach them the wrong thing or teach them not at all, they're going to emulate and copy whoever's around them, the company they keep. Very important, the company that your kids keep tells you tomorrow who and what they're going to be and what's going to happen to them.
I think seeing toddlers, which are pretty much infants that have, a little more abilities than the infant in the cradle, hand holding artificial intelligence, being taught by artificial intelligence. You go walk down the street of the Upper West Side, every stroller that goes by, there's a toddler with a tablet.
Yeah, but you got to realize something. They are right now changing history. They are changing everything right now as they are teaching the toddler on the computer, the AI. They're writing stories for people. I have two friends that told me that GPT or whatever AI is writing their books. And I said to them, in the future, your book become $1 billion seller, a multi-million-dollar seller. Then here come the question. The machine say, hey, I created that. That was my intellectual property. That was my intellectual. I own the copyrights. What are you going to do then? Because God gave you a brain. He gave you creativity. You can claim that, but you're using somebody else's, the machine's creativity. So he's going to claim your copyrights. How about that? Did you ever stop to think about that one?
The machine is going to take it all.
You take it on, says.
Won't he win? Because you didn't use the facilities that God gave you, the natural born creativity of intellectual property is greater than any machine. You got lazy and you let him write your book. You let him create your movie. So who owns it? Because guess what? The Oracle prophesies this, that you're going to be saying 5 years from now, 10 years from now, oh my God, we talked to the Oracle and she prophesies this. We didn't know how significant it was going to be.
I don't think many of us who was in those theaters way back when your product was brought on the movie screen, that we were going to be living in that exact moment right now. When I went to BJ's and actually saw the robot stocking the shelves with the center sensor in a large, I can't describe the shape. It startled me so tremendously because I'm in BJ's and Sam's Clubs quite often. I know all the humans that work there. And I see this thing in the aisle, and the sensory on it must be generated must be triggered by body heat, because when me and another person were approaching that out, it spun on its wheels and it said in a very cryptic robotic voice, "Can I help you?" Scared me to death. I actually came home and told my husband, I said, they got one of those things in the BJ's. He said, what do you mean? I said, it's stocking the shelves, and and they encourage you. I don't believe it's in every BJ's. I believe it's a pilot with the goal to expand it at some point. The more we interact with it, price check with it, ask where certain items are in the aisle, the more it mimics and the more it learns. And I said, holy smoke, this is actually happening. Makes me look at some of the humans that we see on TV and wonder, is that an actual human being, or is that someone that is a part of the soulless and the seedless? How do we know?
Well, this is what's going to happen. This is the welcome to the new world, as they would say, because that's what's going to happen to you. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I've written 4 books on Matrix and Terminator, and it's astrological knowledge in those books. The movies are just a fraction of the knowledge out of those books. The movies are derivatives, just like a child's derived from the mother. They have no more than 1 hour and 36 minutes, no more than 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's a snippet out of a book. That's why when people see the movie and they know there's a book, they go find that book. Or if they read the book, they want to go see the movie, see what's taken out of the book and see how everything is arranged. But the full knowledges are in the 4 books that I've written on Matrix and Terminator. And you guys are just at the beginning, at the tip of the iceberg. What I've written in the continuations of the Matrix, it is so deep. You don't have a clue.
Being a shaman, did these words come to you in a vision, or did you hear them in your spirit? How did these words flow to you?
It just came out of me. I was reading and writing prolifically at 3 years old. Do you know I was a bookworm at 3 years old? And I understood vocabulary, I understood words. It was like I was never a child. I was full consciousness. I don't know if you guys understand what full conscious means. It means a person that is just full of knowledge, not even aware that I had a body, just enveloping the whole world with my consciousness, and it's traveling and it's seeing and it's knowing and it's hearing everything. In fact, I scared my grandmother when I was 3 or 4 years old. It was a storm that we were in, electrical storm, and it was black because the storm just knocked out the electrical grid on a lot of people's homes and stuff. It was the worst electrical storm I'd ever seen. And she was pacing in the house, and it was black, but I could see. But it was black, no lights, nothing. And she was worried about feeding me. And I knew what she was worried about. I was fully conscious. And she gave me something. I didn't even know I was a baby in a body till she told me. She gave me something to suck on with some cloth, and I had never experienced that taste before. So I walked up to her because it just came across my memory, and I asked her, I said, what was that you feeding me during the electrical storm? And I described everything, and she got scared, and she looked at me, and she was terrified. She said, "That's impossible for you to know this." And I said, "Why?" She said, "Because there's only us 2 there." I said, "I know that." She said, "Because you were a baby on the bed, a baby, an infant." But I didn't even know I was an infant. I didn't even know I had a body. All I could see and know and knew what was going on and could tell everything. I didn't get to find out what she fed me because I didn't want to scare her even more. I just stopped talking to her because I saw how concerned she was and withdrawn. And she was looking at me like I was an alien from outer space, you know what I'm saying? Because a baby is not supposed to know any of that. So she knew it was just she and I. Nobody else could have told me. So that terrified her. So when you ask these questions, how do I know about the Matrix? How do I know about the Terminator? I read the Bible when I was growing up. I read the Bible. I was very spiritual. Like I told you, I was reading and writing prolifically for her because she didn't know how to read or write. And I couldn't fake it. I had to read it back to her word by word. So you know that I was really reading and writing prolifically at 3. And she didn't think anything of that. She just wanted to make sure that her letters got off and everything was said what she had said. But I was reading books because I wanted to know what was in the thoughts of people. So I would sometimes stop playing, and all my friends would say, "Come on, stop reading that magazine, stop reading that television, looking at television, stop reading this book. Come on, let's go play. We want to play." They were interested in playing. Sometimes I would put the book down and I would go and play with them. You know what I'm saying? But I was always reading and writing and stuff. So when I got in the 7th grade, 11 years old, we had a college professor to come to teach us how to write. Our English teacher got sick. So he said, "Well, I don't know anything about English, but I'm going to teach you guys how to write." And I loved it. We were all so competitive. we started competing and with each other and trying to outdo each other's with stories and writing. And then later when I skipped all of high school and went to college, like I told you, these master teachers, God had already provided me with some of the best, but they were blown away by my writing. They were blown away by my first book, The Third Eye, which I wrote while I was at USC. And I sent this to some of them. They were like, wow, this is incredible. But I never thought my work was incredible. I just thought it was simple, just simple work. I wrote this little science fiction story, but it was based on spirituality, metaphysics, technocracy, technology, quantum physics, ancient sacred geometry, calculus. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it was futuristic because my grandmother being a shaman, a healer, a seer, and me inheriting that gift. And you know what I found out about my grandmother was a shaman, a healer, when she prophesied to me. When I was pregnant with my baby, she walked up to me and she said to me, if you don't get the baby out of you, you will die. That was her words. That was it. I went and saw a doctor because I did not carry like other women who had large stomachs. I carried inside with the hips. So I never wore any maternity clothes per se. And I kept telling my doctor that I was full term, but he kept on, he was a white doctor. And he kept arguing with me. He says, oh, you probably no more than, 5 months. And I told him, no, I'm far gone. But after my grandmother made the prophecy, I knew she was speaking the truth. I went and saw the doctor, not him, but his partner. And he did a sonogram. And he says, oh my God, you're like in your 10th month. And if you do not get the baby out of you, you and the baby's going to die because the umbilical cord, which is the feeding tube, is disappearing. So I started making phone calls, just many calls. And they kept saying, no, we will have a malpractice lawsuit if we touch you. No.
So they refused to touch you.
Yeah, because they couldn't, because they would go into a lawsuit. I knew that. They would be inheriting somebody else's blotched job. So I understood that. So I prayed to God, and I kept making the phone calls. And I called this doctor, and he said, oh, I remember you. Because he was a military doctor, because I come from a military law enforcement family. And this doctor was a military doctor. And can you imagine remembering me just from talking to me over the phone? He said, yes, I will take you as a patient. And guess what his name was? This is going to blow your mind. His name was Dr. Christensen, with the Christ in it.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Do you see where God validates when he answers your prayer? And the doctor remembers me, a military doctor.
Just from your voice.
Just from my voice and me talking to him and explaining what was going on. Because he had seen me a long time ago when I was in my first trimester, like my first month or two. I was his patient for a minute, but I had forgotten all about that. I was just making random calls, trying to get anybody that can help me. That's deep, isn't it?
That's
So when I was in school at USC, I'm writing The Matrix and Terminator. And God is giving me the information. Look, Matrix, come out of the Bible. Mentioned 5 times, a 7,000-year-old word, Latin word for the woman's stargate or portal. Every woman are the mother of their matrix. Every woman is the mother of her womb. We're the only ones that can have babies. The difference between a man and a woman is not the vagina and the penis. So don't let Dr. Frankenstein cut your penis off. Don't let Dr. Frankenstein sew your vagina up. the difference between a man and woman, the gender is no more than two genders, male or female, just like President Donald Trump said. He told the truth.
Tell the truth.
Anything else is gonna make you a freak. Anything else is gonna make you not able to exist in this physical world.
What I found interesting,
to mutilate you. This is very important what I have to say.
Okay, go ahead, sis.
To mutilate you is gonna bring unhappy consequences. It's gonna bring very unhappy consequences. Mutilation is wrong. We're not even supposed to be cut. Our bodies have all the natural healings from the dirt of the earth, from where we come from. All the roots, all the things that God seeds, ginger, turmeric. I can go on and on. The list is endless. We have everything here to heal our bodies and our souls and our spirits. Everything upon the earth, the water, everything, the minerals, the vitamins, the nutrients coming from out of the grounds, the plants, and all of everything in abundance here. So when someone cut off your penis or sew up your vagina or they mutilate you, you will be a mutilated person, disabled.
A eunuch, if you was a man.
You'll just be a freak. You will just be a monster.
Yeah.
You'll be something you were not meant to be, because man has altered you and he has no right to do that. He has no right to alter your body. He has no right to amputate your legs and your arms and you be blind when there are all these minerals and vitamins and nutrients here to heal every aspect of whatever is wrong in your body, to clean out your body, to heal your organs.
Absolutely.
All this knowledge is in here. God put it in here. And he told me to bring it out, to tell you guys the truth. So no one can take your free will away from you. God himself will not take your free will. He doesn't want man to take it. Man will lie and program. He got more games and lies than The Price is Right. Did you hear what I just said? Man has more games and lies than The Price is Right. Waiting for you to take the program, waiting for you to plug in, waiting for you to become part of the simulations and not reality.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm like Kanye West's song. I'm not here to make atheists into believers. I'm not here to lead you somewhere. I'm not here to take on a mountain full of people. I'm not Malcolm X. I'm not Muhammad Ali. I'm not Martin Luther King Jr. and all the other people who were, and now Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and so forth and go on. I'm not any of that. All I am, Matrix and Terminator, the Oracle, to give you prophecy, to give you truth, so you can decide what you want to do with your free will. If you want to take the blue pill, go right ahead. I don't have no problems with it. You want to take the red pill and wake up and live your life the way you want it to live, or the way it's meant to be, to come here and give and to receive and to elevate, then I'm with you. But I'm not here to take your free will or to lead you someplace. Get that out of your mind. I'm just like the Oracle in the Matrix, because I put myself in my work. So did Stan Lee, Spike Lee, Stephen King, and myself. We copied off of Alfred Hitchcock. He put himself in his work. We did the same thing. But my work is to wake you up out of unplug you, pull you out of the simulations, get you out of the programming and the lies and the ignorance. After that, do whatever you want, because, hey, we're only here for a short time, unless God says we're here for longer. We ask and pray for it to be here a little longer, or never to leave this earth, because we don't have to leave. Everybody that knew you would be dead, and they won't know you're still here, and the other people won't know that you've been here, okay, for a long time. So you decide what you want. You decide what's the best for you.
Absolute free will.
Yes, but learn as much as you can. Learn as much as you can. Wake up.
What are your thoughts of the Illuminati? Is this
13 families, they exist. I have Illuminati fans. I have mobster fans, American Gangster New York here in Vegas. They met me. You can't be a celebrity and come here and work in Vegas or be in Vegas if you don't meet the mobsters who own all these casinos and corporations and stuff. Their children, because a lot of their parents are dead. They were with Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and those guys, the Rat Pack. They were here at one time. The children has inherited everything, and maybe that's why Vegas has the football teams and the baseball teams and hockey and all that, because they didn't grow up with all of that. It was just a little gambling town in the desert with Buggy Siegel to make money. And the Illuminatis, they exist. The Rosicrucian, I was raised, well, not raised, but mentored by the Illuminatis, but the Rosicrucian branch, which is the Christ branch, is called the Rose, not the 13 families. Don't get them confused. The Rosicrucians are a whole different group. You can look them up. They're the Christ, they're the Rose. The 13 families are the Vanderbilts, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Astors, the Collins, and we can go on and on. You can Google and read about them yourselves. How about that?
That's knowledge that I think is
That's
very
great.
important.
Yeah, but they're here. You can Google everything. It's there. I'm not being funny. I'm keeping it real with you.
Is Google,
real.
being that Google is part of the machine, is the machine gonna give
Well, you know who owns Google, right? You know who owns Google. You know who owns Amazon. You know who owns Netflix and Samsung, and we can Nike. We can go on and on and on. The list is long and distinguished. Some, I'm not here to make any judgment calls on any of them. Only God can judge all of us. You see the appearance of us, but I'm gonna tell you what you really need to go by. Not so much what you read about them or speak. Look at the action. The action speaks louder than words. If you want to know who somebody is, then watch what they're doing or what they are showing you, not what they're saying. But God says that action speaks louder than words. Now, with words, we can create spells and spelling, curses and cursive. And Halloween is the biggest holiday in the school system. So what is that telling you? How's blood sacrifice? Putting razor blades in apples where kids can bite on that. Kids missing and stuff during Halloween if you're not paying attention, or people missing. Oh, you got to pay attention. You have to wake up. Unplug out of the matrix and wake up and see your surroundings. Look, it's 8 billion people on Earth. And I'm sure that this is going to go above the head of some of them. And some of them is not even going to care, which is fine, because I'm not here to judge them and I'm not here to change them or to tamper with their free will. I'm just here to kind of unplug you. That's what my job was, to create Matrix and Terminator. Not any devil, because the devil is not going to unplug you. He's going to keep you plugged in. He's not trying to free you. He's trying to keep you addicted to whatever he's got going on. Okay? But I'm here to unplug you.
That there was I think when people hear about the Illuminati, there's always this sense of darkness. But I heard you loud and clear when you said the Christ chapter.
Yeah, the Rosicrucian is the Christ chapter, And somebody say about the Illuminati's part too, because in the Illuminati's, they have these different numbers that you can become, like 11, 22, and master numbers, and 33. Well, you know what? They're just teaching you knowledge. Illuminate means to enlighten. Illuminati means to bring light to the bearer. The more knowledge you have, the greater you are. You know what I'm talking about? The more phenomenal you'll be. So when you reach the 33rd level of the 13 families, Illuminati's, that's when you have to decide if you're going to worship God or you're going to worship Satan. That's when you're gonna tell where you're gonna go and where you, at the end, what you're gonna do. Okay? Because that 33rd, that's the highest level of knowledge.
Got it. How does one acquire that 33rd level?
You have to join the Illuminatis. Become part of the Illuminatis, the 13 families. That's what you will have to become. And you can go all the way till you get to the 33rd level, and you got to decide who's going to be your master. If you're going to worship God or you're going to worship the devil, the beast.
So
all the devil is the beast, bestiality, sodomizing, pedophilism, homosexuality, and a whole lot of nasty stuff that's gonna bring your life to a short end. That's all it is. That's what the animals do. They fight over turf wars. And what you need to fight over land? I mean, the earth is nothing but land, nothing but water, nothing but air. So why are you killing over land when there's land that doesn't have anything on it? The moment land falls into the ocean, new land pops up as islands. So only an animal won't know that. Animal's gonna kill you over turf. He's gonna have sex with his own dogs or whatever animal it is, gonna have sex with its own and everything. It'll try to have sex with a cat if it can. That's the way it's sodomizing and going on and eating and entertainment. That's what a beast does. Just look at your dog. He's a good example of what bestiality means. Look at the monkeys, the Rh negative rhesus monkey bloodlines. Look at it, it'll tell you. Look at animals, and that's why they call them animals, and they put man in cages. They put them down. Either you're gonna do what's right or go to prison, and you keep doing the same thing, they're gonna put you down. Same thing they do with a dog. Same, absolutely. They put you in a cage, they call you an animal because you're following after animals. You're acting like an animal. You're not acting like God's child. They're killing and raping and robbing and stealing and being in abominations and drugging and drinking at the level of alcoholism. You know what I'm talking about, addiction, meth, fentanyl is killing you. So you got to decide what you want here. You got to decide what you want. What do you want? Why did you come here for?
What is your purpose?
Yeah, because look at it. Look at the prison system. It's the same thing that you put a dog in, you put an ape in. It's a cage. The prison is a cage. And what is it? Armed guards? That's what they'll have over a dog if he's wild and he's going to come out killing and eating. And they're going to kill him. They're going to put him down because they can't control him.
Absolutely.
I'm just making you look at things another way, giving you another way of viewing the world and trying to get you to see that everything that you think is not going on here. There's a lot, like she said, a lot of distractions. Every time something comes out and they don't want you to pay attention to, they'll put something else in the media, like all those plane crashes. And then it'll take your mind on all those plane crashes and you won't be remembering what they put in the news before that for you to concentrate on because you're looking at the distractions now. And the distractions are crazy. Look at all the plane crashes. Weird plane crashes, upside down plane, helicopter hitting a plane with 67 people in there. Neil, what's his name? Vince Neil's jet just flying off and hitting another jet that's already sitting out there. I could go on and on. There's just all these crazy crashes. But the more crazy they are, the more distracted you are.
Absolutely.
I do have something interesting that I've been interested in. I think they have been distracting us from that I would like to ask you about. I started
I'm
saying
sorry
this
for laughing.
I started saying this a few years ago. They made an announcement, and me and you spoke about it actually too, Vern, on the news that there was something inside our orbit that was watching us. that they had no control over, and they said that it moved so fast that it couldn't have been anything that we created here on Earth, that it has the ability to move any type of way that it wants, so that defines gravity, and it could move in and out of the orbit as it wants, and that it's watching us. So I've been said on social media, like, isn't that's of grave importance to mankind, that we are being watched by something that our scientists are already saying they have is nothing in comparison. They have to it. And they even asked the pilot they was questioning, if this thing decided to attack us, do we have a defense? And he said, it's nothing. He said the technology must be 1,000 years beyond what we are on Earth right now. So is this part of some of the things they're trying to keep us distracted from?
There's so much going on that I cannot even begin to isolate one incident that you're speaking on. It's 8 billion people on the earth. 8 billion people. So you know what's good? At no time on earth has there been this many people. Do you know what that means? They're trying to depopulate. I think that's what you need to keep in mind. Forget about what's watching you. They're trying to depopulate because if they can make the population smaller, they can control it. But they can't control 8 billion people. Do you kind of have an idea now?
Yes.
So don't worry about all this other stuff that they're doing, because you need to worry about the most important thing they're trying to do, depopulate. You need to be looking out to see how they're going to depopulate and how they intend to kill off a whole lot of people. They tried with COVID, and they put a lot of nanotechnology in a lot of people. A lot of crazy stuff is going on. At no time have you seen more people killing people and running into crowds and assassinations and all kinds of stuff. Depopulation. Keep that in mind, because that's the most important thing. When you think
Was
so,
the vaccine okay?
I didn't take it.
I
wouldn't take anything that doesn't come from the earth. I'm not taking any chemicals. I'm not taking nothing from man. I wouldn't trust man. They kill people who come up with natural stuff like the water to run your cars.
Is that something that in the future, all these people that took these vaccines, that's going to come? Because that could be something too. A lot of the population took vaccines, or could they be a part of the people in the future that?
Well, look who's over it: Dollar Bill, Gates of Hell, Dr. Fossey, Faust, Pan the Devil. Are you not getting their names? Because their names are easy. Dollar Bill, Gates of Hell, Bill Gates. Dr. Fossey. Yeah. Pay attention.
No,
Dollar Bill, Gates of Hell.
I got it.
Dr. Fossey, Faust. Because remember, Faust, Pan was the devil's name.
Mm-hmm.
The devil. And what they own together? Is it Moderna? Don't they own Moderna together?
Yes.
And they go to school together?
Yes.
And then Bill Gates and his man-looking wife was talking about killing out the population because she told on him. When she got ready to get her divorce, or she split up from him and she wasn't getting her part, she told on him. You do remember she said they were trying to kill out the population, right?
I do remember that, but there was another distraction that was happening at that time, I think.
Well, I don't understand why you guys don't believe when Bill Gates, go Google him and go to YouTube and listen to him where he's talking about killing and depopulating. They want to control. Look, they got trillions and billions of dollars. They're bored. Can you imagine? And you cannot even think on this level, but let me help you. When you got billions and trillions of dollars, you've eaten everything on the earth and you're bored. What can you have that you can eat that would be different? Oh, let's go back to what they used to eat. They used to eat humans' flesh up until the 1900 without shame. They started hiding it because people started talking bad about that. But they wasn't hiding it up to the 1900s. They was barbecuing and eating people. When they came from someplace else and they came over here, they didn't bring nothing but tools for tobacco and other things. They didn't bring enough food for themselves because they could eat each other. The natives are the ones who told them how to cultivate and grow corn and eat food and stuff. But they weren't worried about that because the old vampires could eat some flesh and drink some blood. Why you think they eat blood? Why you think they eat bloody?
Yo, the natives said
Why you think they're eating bloody? Why you think they're eating bloody meat? Why you think they eat bloody meat? Who eats bloody meat? Who drinks the blood of an animal? Who eats bloody meat?
And those
who wants some bloody? Who wants some bloody meat? Oh, wait, let's say a dog eats some bloody meat. He's a beast. He eats bloody meat, right? I'm sorry.
You are right. Yes, that's
you are right on target. This is the knowledge that the people need. Another huge, this is going to be unpopular to the masses, but another huge depopulation tactic is what's going on with the gender reassignment. If you are taking hormonal therapy for the amount of time, you will develop permanent infertility. So even if 10 years later you decide, hey, that's not what I really wanted. I actually might want children. It's too late because you have now become infertile. There will be no seeds coming forth. If you are a transitioning woman, you have now completely suspended and terminated any form of ovulation in your body. And if you're a transitioning man, you have now, you're shooting blanks now, indefinitely. So that
I don't, excuse me, sorry. I don't even understand why would somebody mutilate their bodies? Why would you do what Dr. Frankenstein is telling you? That doesn't make any sense to me because Dr. Frankenstein knows that you're never going to be a woman and you're never going to be a man if you're trying to transform into one because it's about the womb.
Correct.
It's about having babies. It's about that. So there's no way Dr. Frankenstein is going to make you into whatever you want to be. That's not, if you're confused, then get unconfused. Because having your body mutilated is a hell of a lot worse than your confusion. You can fix the confusion in the mind, but once the doctor have violated and mutilated your body, it's over. If you decide, hey, I see this beautiful woman and I wanna make love to her, but you have no penis. Or I see this man and I want to have his baby, but the doctor took your womb out. You have no matrix. And then man says, well, I want to have kids and you can't have kids. And even though we love each other, I just don't see how we can get around that. I want organic kids from my seed, not to adopt, not to take on somebody else, not artificial inseminated, whatever, surrogate. I want us to be a union. And you had this at one time, but you gave it up. There's a lot of repercussions, but you don't hear about the repercussions.
No.
I wanted to ask that because that affects so many people. The children, yeah. Can you, is that, are they not legitimate children of God or there's something else?
They are the children of man. Man is creating them. God is not creating them. When you have a union with a woman, you and I have a union with each other, man, woman, and you put your seeds into me and I carry it in my matrix. That is a child of God. But you going into the laboratory, how are you a child of God in the laboratory? The man is growing you in a petri dish, or he's putting you, growing you like in the matrix, in a test tube or an artificial incubator. Come on, how's that natural? That's man, the scientist, the doctor, the philosopher. He's in the laboratory. He's growing you just like you grow something out of the ground. How's that a natural child? You're not conceiving naturally. This guy is making clones. He's taking some of your DNA and putting it in an egg and taking it and putting it in a surrogate woman. And she's part of the process of the clone. And the clone has no soul, no seed. He's a lab rat. Oh, let me explain to you a lot better. When you are eating food that are they're non-GMOs. You know what I'm talking about? They're non-GMOs are natural, organic, created by God. GMOs are the ones, you know what I'm talking about, that are non-GMOs. The animals and the insects won't eat them. You know what I'm talking about? They'll look and they'll see that the seedless watermelon, the seedless apple. The insects or the animals say, oh, hell no, I'm not eating that. They see the monster. But you guys are like, oh, this is some grape, because my brain is taught to see grape. Oh, this is some seedless grapes. This is some seedless watermelon, seedless orange, seedless lemons. Your mind is telling you, oh, this looks like it, it tastes like it, but you don't even know what you're eating. It's genetically modified by man. It's genetically modified by man. Modified, changed. The word modify means it is genetically altered and changed by man. So what the hell are you eating? Oh, the insects say, well, I can see it's a monster and I don't want it. So let me run on and let it just sit on the ground because I'm not touching it. And here go man.
What I would really like to know is there any salvation for those children?
For what children?
For the children that's born out of artificial.
You're talking about man's children.
Man's children, yes.
Maybe he's gonna be the one that's maybe he's gonna grow up to enslave you. Because he doesn't have no soul. He doesn't have no compassion. He doesn't have no love. So it's easy for him to kill you. And you say, wait a minute, why is it so easy for this person to kill me? Oh, could it be because he doesn't have a soul? No compassion, no love, no desire? And he's telling you to jump off the building instead of, do you remember the movie? One of the old movies, it was called The Body Snatcher. And they were cloning people and they were killing the real bodies, the real children of God, and they cloned them. And they couldn't determine who was clones and who were God's children. So they got somebody to jump off act like he's going to jump off the buildings. Well, the body snatchers, clones were saying, jump, jump. They didn't have no compassion. And the other people was crying and said, no, don't jump. They had compassion. They had love. Because that's what it's going to boil down to in the future. Those who have compassion and love and those who have not an inkling idea will kill you in a New York minute. So is that a child of God? One that has no soul, no seed? And he comes upon you and he kill you and he won't think nothing about it because he don't got no compassion. He has no feeling, no emotion, doesn't know who God is, doesn't know what love is, doesn't know what happiness is. How about that? Well, does that help you a little bit?
Terrifies the hell out of us because these man-made children are going to be in some capacity in school with God's children. And
that's right. And if you go look at the old body snatcher movies, look at the old black and white ones, because that'll teach you they're cloning. And they were taking and they would do that. They were being sneaky. They were killing out God's children and replacing them with clones. Look at the old black and white body snatchers. I think it's about 3 or 4 of them. Google them. They'll tell you how many, and then you'll get the idea of what I'm talking about.
I remember those.
Well, hold on one second. Hold 1 second. Hi, I had to take that call for a moment. It was one of my children calling.
Oh yes, we must respond to the children.
Well, yeah, you gotta respond to that, or your husband, children and husband.
Yes,
and wives.
I will be gone.
Well, I thought that would give y'all a little break for a second.
Yeah. But I do want to say this because I've been trying to get this out. So, in studying the scripture, as I was saying earlier, it's clear in the scripture about this blood, and I've always was interested in that. So, one of the things with Noah, when people think that Noah was like he was something great and awesome, special about him. But what people don't realize was that the reason why Noah was chosen is because God didn't find no error in his bloodline. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
His blood was correct. So in studying that, I always knew in studying the Bible that meant something. You know what I'm saying? Noah's blood was correct. That, meant something to God. So then you study it and see that during that time that the human's blood got mixed with the Nephilim, which was the so-called fallen angels that was on the earth. So then I continued to study, and when we studied Revelations, it always stuck in my head this in Revelations. It says, at the end of time, the book of life will be open. God knows all the names that's in the book of life. Those who are not in the book of life is thrown to the lake of fire. So now I always said to myself, all God's children got to be in the book of life. Anyone who was ever born is in the book of life because we're all God's children. But who won't be in the book of life, I guess, would be the children of the demons, the children of the fallen angels. And I'm trying to understand now, is it these kids that's being born
The men
through the men children? So is this going to be a whole world when the book of life, you're not in the book of life?
Well, you can't tell now. That's what the Terminator movie was all about. That's what it was trying to tell you. You couldn't tell the Terminator was not a child of God. He's wrapped in flesh, killed but cannot be killed. Well, you don't even know how many of these test tube babies and incubator babies they've created. They've been doing this for a long time. You remember the film, I guess I have to send it to you, on the Cabbage Patch Kids?
Oh, yes.
Where they've been creating lab rats for a long time. And lab rats they're created in the laboratory, just like the seedless watermelon and the seedless grape. That is not a child of God, that GMO, genetically modified organism. Look, it's a genetically modified organism. Organism means like flesh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They've been doing this for a long time. They have a lot of practice, a lot of knowledge. So you can't determine who's God's children and who's man's children, because that's why you're looking at the Terminator. So the Terminator can tell you what's going to happen. And where in the Bible it says men will become lovers of men. You see what I'm talking about? They don't want to have children with women. They want to make love to a man.
That's mimicking the woman.
Yes, and it's death.
Yes.
So Sodom and Gomorrah was death, sodomizing and Gundaria. That's what the Twin City was called. Sodom and Gomorrah, sodomizing and Gundaria. And they were doing animals, and they were doing children, and they was doing each other, and they just was everybody they can add in. And when God was trying to hope to redeem the city, he sent the two angels, and what happened? They tried to have sex with the two angels. So nothing was exempt. Nothing was exempt from them. That's why the flood had to destroy all of that. It was no mythology. They call it mythology because they don't want you to believe it was real. And it says they're going to die by fire this time. Ain't going to be no nuclear fire where the earth gets blown up, or the Nibiru, the planet's going to blow up the earth. You can see what happens when any thing hits the earth. It breaks into thousands of pieces, and it hit the earth to pieces. And if going outside of it, you're going to blow up, because negative and positive don't match. Just look at the battery in your car, and it'll give you an idea. When you bring a negative and a positive, boom, it blows up. Now, let's go back to the history of the earth. From the beginning of time, the earth has never been destroyed and never will be destroyed. Only thing going on here is people coming and going. And we know this because we didn't see countless of civilizations. We didn't see countless of artifacts and objects and clothes and hair and drinks, and except that we can't even find a body. We didn't see all kinds of giants where the Nephilims have been mixing with, and Pegasus, the horse with wings. We didn't see all kind of monsters and astronomy, just phenomenal stuff here to let you know who's been on this earth and who's going to keep coming. Mm-hmm. You don't need to concentrate on that. Spontaneous combustion is going to happen. You're already seeing it. The sun is blowing them up, setting them on fire. And guess what? Nothing else is burning up. The sea's not burning up. You might find a head, a leg, an arm, fingers. After they didn't blew up. They blew up on the beach. Spontaneous combustion. They're blowing up because of the sun. And the old vampires, what are they doing? They're running over to Norway, the Antarctic, Alaska, any place where it's going to be dark for 6 months or longer to avoid the sun. They're not mixing with God's children. They start mixing with God's children when you saw the movie Blaze with Wesley Snipes. Go back and look at that movie so they can walk in the daytime and commit all the atrocities that they can. Kill as many people, lie, kill, steal, deceive. The greatest weapon is deception, to deceive you. You see what I'm talking about? This has been going on for years. It's right in your face. No slavery, because look, Denzel Washington in Glory, he was a soldier, a cadet from West Point, and he was fighting. How can it be slavery if there's black soldiers in the Union Jack? It doesn't make any sense. It's sex trafficking. That's all it is. And what happens when I sex traffic? I'm going to get free labor. I'm going to get pedophilism. I'm going to eat some babies. I'm going to have some mules for Guzman's. So 25,000 so we can turn this money laundry, turn it into legit. I'm going to have unwanted, nobody will know, untraceables. So if I eat you, nobody's going to know. Because once you cross over into America as migrants, I'm going to use you for everything I can use you for because you're untraceable. There's not going to be anybody like in Roots, my name is Kuti Kenti. No, your name is Toby. Well, if sex slavery was existing, it wouldn't matter what your damn name was. Toby is a slave in a book and it belongs to property. My name is Muhammad Ali, not Cassius Clay. Cassius Clay is a white man, and to take on his name is you to say you belong to him, you're his property. Come on. That's what these changing names, what do kidnappers do? They change your names, they change your clothes, they change everything. So if it was legit, there would be no need to change anything. Am I right or wrong? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's right in your face. My name is Kuti Kenti. If he uses his name, that's why he got his foot cut off. That's why he got beat. If he runs away and he used Kuti Kente, his family's gonna find him. Why did Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman go to the South and kidnap them back? Look at the word. They went to the South and kidnapped them and brought them back up north to freedom, where everybody was getting paid for their jobs. And the North and South was fighting over economics. The North was pissed off that the South was finally getting rich off of free labor because their Southern asses didn't know how to make any money. They was using free labor to get over and get rich. And the North got pissed off, and that's where the Civil War started over economics. And they didn't want people to know they was fighting over money. They wanted to make it a glorious cause. And what more glorious than to say, we're fighting to free the slaves.
You're freeing the slave. Not that, we tired of you guys getting rich and you're not doing anything but fanning yourselves on the porch. And that's why once the Union won the war, the Southerners that were left down there, the white Southerners, they didn't have the skills to rebuild the South because all the skill was in those brown men and women and children that were actually being used as free skilled laborers.
Free labor. Anybody can get rich off of free labor. That's what the prison system is using.
That's it.
The old slavery has become the new prison systems. Free labor. Come on, free labor. I mean, you go all the way back and you will take a look at this and you will start to view it another different kind of way. You go back to that and you look at the Zong ship, because nobody, rickety boats came all the way 8,000 miles from Africa to America. You know how many? That's 8,000 miles. Those rickety ships can't even make it. You have to stop in 4,000 ports to get fresh water and food before you even hit America. You even have a hard time right now in the modern ships going from America to Africa. And what people have been reading about was the Zong ship, where they kidnapped 400 and some Africans. They put them in the Zong ship, and they chained them up. And from the feces and the nastiness and the urination, they had like 213 of them died. And they threw them overboard to the sharks. And then some of them jumped overboard because they didn't want to be kidnapped. And they got as far as Jamaica. They used to pick up different people from different ports, just like the sailors would come in San Francisco. They'd be at the bar and they would drug you because some of their sailors would die and they had to get some replacements. So they'd go in the bar and start drinking and drug you. And next thing you wake up, you out to sea, and they tell you either work for free or you can walk the plank and let a shark eat you. You see what I'm talking about?
Choices. You can walk that plank, or you're gonna work for free.
Exactly. That's what they used to do to them. They used to drug them. So if you went to a bar and somebody drugged you, you could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, you could be anything. And they didn't care. All they was looking for was able-bodied men, and they would drug them and take them out to sea. And what the hell are you going to do? Who are you going to call? You out to sea. You at the mercy of these people. Come on. That's the way they do with sex trafficking. Is the same thing. They drug the women. If a woman go to a car, there may be something on there. You sniff it. They got a van right by to pick you up and take you on. They can trick you on the social network if you're not paying attention. Take you and sex traffic you. It's going on because people are not paying attention. They're not paying attention. They think they can do anything here. You can't do anything here because you don't even know what the hell is going on here in hell. It's called the Matrix. Unplug. Wake up. I told you guys they got more games and lies than The Price is Right. If you don't know what that statement means, you're in trouble.
You're in super big trouble.
That's right.
What selling of the soul is becoming so popular. It's all in the algorithm. Everyone is being accused of selling their soul. What does that actually mean?
Well, there are a lot of people who have sold their souls for money, and you already know because they are advertising demonic stuff. When they're performing, they're wearing Satan stuff, and they got a whole lot of programming going on that has nothing to do with entertainment, okay? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this one out. Everybody who have sold their soul, you already know. Go back and go to YouTube and who's your favorite and look at their action. What did I just teach you guys an hour or so ago? I said you'll know them by their action, not their words. But look at how they've transformed. Look at the before pictures and look how they look now. Look at the before acts and look at what they're doing now. They didn't win all rampart Satan. They're wearing the Satan's satanic stuff. They're performing satanic rituals. Gender manipulations, gender stuff. It's just, and they're leading you somewhere. And all the people, and then you can look at the concerts, and people are like in trances, and it's just so much going on. Look at the act. Just watch the action. Say, oh, Sophia, the oracle told me this. Let me go look and see what they're doing. And look at the money, and look at how, because you can get rich by God or you can get rich by Satan. But Satan is going to extract something from you. You have to lead somebody to hell for him. You're gonna be performing. You're gonna transform. You're gonna transform from good guy, good girl to demonic. Look at the devil clothes they're wearing. Look at the rituals they're performing on stage. Look at the act.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the hypnotism. Look at the hypnotic stuff that's going on.
And that's very
look at the Met MET Gala GALA Met MET GALA Met Gala Met Gala, a gala, whatever it's pronounced. Mm-hmm. And look at what they're wearing: upside down crosses, angel wings, the Pope outfits, the bishops. They're wearing all of these demonic outfits. I'm sorry for laughing, but it is crazy.
I recall Lady Gaga attended the Met Gala.
Oh, Jesus. Go ahead.
Really blowing up in the world, and she wore a raw meat gown, a gown completely made out of raw meat, and bloody shoes. And like you said, so many demonic symbols, artifacts, the makeup that's worn. Some of the attendees look like they are under a spell as they're walking onto the red carpet. I think of the concert given by Travis Scott, where
and those blood sacrifices at his concert. Yes. Oh,
and
Jesus.
That we were distracted from that. I forget how they distracted us from that, but whenever there was footage that was played and you see the crowd, when you think of a concert, you think of people smiling, you think of people, really into their body is moving to the rhythm. The crowd looked as if there was anguish on their faces. There was fire, there was smoke. He was uttering words to his songs, but he's doing it in a manner that was not joyous at all. Words.
Yeah, he was sneaking in some spells, some chanting. Absolutely. You know what I'm talking about? Some I'm sorry for laughing, but they are so funny. I just don't know how people have not figured them out by now. They must not be well versed in witchcraft or satanic rituals or what is going on here. It is so obvious what some of them are, right in your face. And some of the fans, they just love it because they're confused. They don't know what the hell's going on. Most of them are on drugs. And at the concert, they're on drugs. They wouldn't know if they were being sacrificed or not.
No.
Some of them are sleepwalking, just like you just said earlier. Some of them are sleepwalking. Some of them are just consciously not even aware.
Absolutely. Even when you think about hip hop, the frequency of the music does not feel good. When I was coming up and they were having the jams in the park, it felt so good. The camaraderie of the people, the dancing, the movement, the food, there was an actual feeling of us having a good time. When you listen to some of the music, especially the drill, you feel like something sinister is about to take place. The lyrics are like chants. They're not talking about, I'm taking this girl out. There used to be, in order to have a successful rap album, you had to have something that the guys felt cool vibing to in their car and something that they could play for their lady friend when they picked her up, right? Right now, it's all blood, violence, and darkness.
Oh, yes. Lots of darkness. Lots of that.
It does not feel good when you hear it. And I would be so interested to see when this part of the genre dies out, because I believe it's going to die out kind of like the Marilyn Manson genre of heavy metal had to die out.
Yeah, because it only lasts for so long and then something else comes and takes his place.
Yes, absolutely. Are they even gonna remember the lyrics to these songs? Because when they're reciting them, it's almost like they're in a trance-like state. What do you think?
It depends, you know, because everybody has their own fan base.
Mm.
And there are fans that can recite their music, the words, everything, better than learning something in school.
Absolutely. They're studying it. They're actually studying the dark, you know?
That's right. And some of them want to be part of the dark because they have nothing else to look forward to, nothing else to go towards.
What one of the before we wrap up, a couple of questions I have. The spiritual realm. What role does the spiritual realm play in what's going on all around us, and where does that stand in the matrix, the spiritual reality of the
Well, the spiritual world is just creating all of these illusions and subworlds that you can live in right now. Do you kind of know what I'm saying?
No.
It's just creating a lot of subworlds right now. Everybody doesn't live in the natural world. A lot of people are living in the simulations. They all have different experiences. It's only when a crowd of people pay attention to a segment of something here that you see in the news. Like when you go on TMZ and they're talking about certain things or certain events, there are people who are tuned into that. Just like back in the day, there were people who had never watched Johnny Carson's show. There are people who have never seen, Steve Harvey's show or something. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's multi-millions in television, everybody's in different worlds. Got to remember that. What are you paying attention to here is what world you're in. Do you see what I'm saying? And the people on TMZ, they follow certain cults. They follow certain celebrities, certain iconic figures. Do you see? So you kind of basically know what kind of worlds they're entrenched in. But you don't have to get involved in any of the worlds because it's like follow the leader. If you're my favorite celebrity and you're Kanye West, well, I'm gonna be following you. Do you see? And you're gonna have me in your world. I'm gonna be involved in your world. You see what I'm saying? There's all these worlds and all these things that are going on. Some people are in tech worlds. Some people are in other worlds. Do you see what I'm talking about? Natural worlds. Some people are in religions. There's all kind of worlds that are going on here. And no two people are in the same world. So if I were you, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just pick a world, but I would want to be in the real world. And the more truth you know, the more you're free.
What's the real
act
world?
out. The real world is involving truth, not your truth, because nobody can speak. Truth doesn't belong to us. The only thing that belongs to us is if we tell a bunch of lies, our lies. Because when you go to court, you better be telling the truth. You better not be telling your truth because you can get locked up with that. I'm serious. So I don't know who came up with this. That's my truth. No, it ain't your truth. What goes up will come down. That is the law of gravity. So if I throw something up, it's going to come down. It might hit you in the head. That is the truth. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to everyone because whoever throws something up, that is going to come down eventually. Because that's the law of gravity. We got these natural laws that exist on this earth, and it doesn't matter if we believe in them or we honor them or do not honor them, they're still going to occur. Still going to happen. Like the sun is gonna come up. Listen, the sun is gonna come up every day. It might be clouded this day, it might be rain, it might be snow, and we don't see it, but somebody else is seeing it. It's up. That is not our truth. That is the truth. Am I right or wrong?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So you can't get you want to be caught up in truth. Learn the natural laws that governs the earth, that governs everything, because they're now here today and forever. They're never going to change. You know, but man is going to create a whole lot of things where he changes his mind, he changes his law, he changes his clothes, he changes his wife, he changes everything. And you can't depend on that. You need to learn the natural laws that are here now forever. They never change because you can depend on them. You can depend on that. Like man was just talking about changing the time. Well, let's change. Let's not have daylight saving time anymore. Let's try to change that. Do you see? That is man's truth. It has nothing to do with the natural laws that governs time here on the earth. Are you getting it now, Neo? Learn what is natural and real that you can depend on, and learn that man makes up rules and regulations and laws that when a new president come in, they didn't change the law. They didn't change the rules. They didn't change the game. They do it every time, every 4 to 8 years, depending if somebody gets 4 years or 8 years, they're steadily changing. They didn't put the tariffs on stuff now. Come on, bigger ones. That's changeable. That's man changing. You can't depend on that. Somebody comes in 4 years and they change that. And you say, wait a minute, this was law. Now it's not the law anymore. What the hell? But the laws of God, go into the Bible, learn those laws that are here now and forever, and they will never change. And you can depend on those laws. You can regulate your lives around those laws that will never change. Don't regulate your life on the things that man operates and change every minute. You're going to be mad, upset, and furious. And if you don't know God's laws, that's the only thing you're going to be dependent on. Okay?
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because I don't depend on man. I pay man's laws no attention. I'm talking about no attention whatsoever. I understand the natural laws of God, and I depend on those laws, and I operate on those laws, and I operate my business, my life, my desires, my want on those laws. And I'm happy because I can depend that they will never change. But if I sit up there and pay attention to what new president or what new government or governor or whoever come out with these new rules and regulations, I'm just going to be frustrated, confused, and in ignorance. That's my take.
Can we look forward to, is there any way we're going to ever see your...
Oh, where are you located? Where are you located?
We're in New York City.
Well, you can always get a sponsor or anybody for me to come out and do book signing, autographs.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of multimillionaire, billionaires who want to meet me. I met a lot of them, multi-million billionaires at different events, the Oscars and all kinds of stuff that I've gone to. But if you want somebody, get some school, say, hey, pay Sophia $25,000. She'll come out, she'll do autographs, she'll do speaking to the schools. I've done all of that. I got an event coming up. What is that? Got one coming up in California in July. They're fixing the contract now. One in Arizona. What is that place in Arizona where the springs, the waters? I always forget the name of that place. Not Phoenix, not the other part of Arizona, the other one where a lot of the wealthy people live.
I'm not sure.
In Arizona. Oh, I can't think of it. It'll come to me. But anyway, I got an event, a speaking event there in August. In Arizona. In August. Yeah, I've gone to Seattle, Washington. I've gone a lot to Florida, just all different places where they pay for me to come and speak. And there's all kind of people who will sponsor it, will give an event for me to come out and meet people. So, or come to Vegas, and because everybody comes to Vegas. I'm gonna tell you, that's one thing I never have any problems with people coming to Vegas to meet me, because everybody wants to come to Vegas. I mean, everybody in the world comes to Vegas, and they have such a great time. And I do a lot of speaking and events in Vegas also. Want you guys to know. Yeah. Yeah, but it's not hard to meet me. It's not hard to come and see me or me to come and see you. It's not that difficult anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that we can make that happen.
That is awesome.
Scarsdale, we said.
Scottsdale. Sophia.
No, it wasn't Scottsdale. It was the other one. What is it called?
Paradise or something.
No, I always get that name. It's a known name too. Once it come to me, you guys will know what I'm talking about. It's in the wealthy part where the what's her name? Tony Braxton sisters and them went to. What was the part of Arizona that they went to? They went to the springs and everything. You might want to Google it because they went to, I don't even know why that is not coming in my mind, but it is very common, the name.
Because you there already.
Yeah, but I'll be there in August, and what I'll do is when they come to me, I'll text you guys and give y'all the name of the part of Arizona. And y'all are gonna be saying, "Oh man, that's so common, that name." And that's what happens too when you get a common name in Arizona, because Arizona doesn't have that many places. Kingsman, Phoenix, Scottsdale, and I could go on and name a lot of them. But this place is it has a funny name anyway. That's the one I'm gonna be going to.
Definitely.
Where the springs are. But I'll let you guys know in August if you want to come there, or in Cali, if you want to do the Cali one, the girls getting it ready. But I love it. I love doing speaking, love to come out, autograph books, whatever, and to meet people, meet and greet. Platforms, on the platforms or whatever.
So they can meet the oracle in the flesh.
Yeah, definitely.
This has been absolutely enlightening.
Very much.
This has been full of knowledge. This has been an experience that our audience is definitely now going to do their own independent research, keep themselves in the light. We appreciate you. Kingdom, make sure you pick up all 4 books, but first start with the very first one, so you can get it direct, not the Hollywood version, but the actual version the Oracle herself created. Thank you.
Well, I was going to tell you, the Hollywood doesn't even have a version. They don't even have any scripts or anything.
From what I heard, I didn't see the 4th Hollywood mimicking portion. But I know it was terrible because they couldn't mimic it anymore. They had ran out of copied ideas. It wasn't working. It wasn't working.
Well, they couldn't write it.
No, they couldn't write it.
Write the Matrix The Terminator.
I guess AI couldn't write it either.
AI can't write it either. Excuse me.
Owner, creator of the Matrix and Terminator, the Oracle herself, Sophia Stewart, thank you so much for being part of the Seat of the Esteemed. And please link us into any upcoming events that you have. We would love to be a part of it.
Thank you guys for having me, and see you soon.
Definitely, we'll see you real soon. We really appreciate you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yes.
This is awesome.